So a little opportunity here to make a video update from the last video that I made, which might have been like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I know everybody's, dealing with this coronavirus and being quarantined in the house. And so probably a good time to get some content out there, some information out there, some knowledge out there, share some different things. So as far as what's happened with me the past couple weeks, well, I had a whole bunch of breakdowns. Was in the shop a couple times for different mechanical issues. Not to get into too much detail, but some of them were just, minute stuff. Some of them were like getting a steer tire change. Some of them were, not getting any power to my truck because my PCD box was corroded. It had been left open, I guess, when they went and fixed something else, and I didn't check it. And went to the truck wash. More water got in it. It was already corrosion in there. So long story short, it just led to a bunch of different instances of me being in the shop. But it didn't hurt my revenue too bad because I was able to get off some of the loads. In the process of that, my clock was a little messed up. Last week I completed TQM, which is total quality management. It's just basically a philosophy that a lot of corporations use as far as to get their employees to have a good grasp or understanding of the business model that that particular company has and how you make money and how you succeed within that business model. Everybody is not going to succeed in that business model, because some people are just going to do things the way that they want to do it. I guarantee if you bring a trucker in here that's been trucking for, 25 years, flatbed, that started in the old school days, and you put him in this system, he'll probably out excel everybody just based off of other factors, but not specifically that he's trying to get points, in the point system that TMC has. But total quality management just enlightens you on, the different aspects of how you make money with TMC. Which is based off of a performance scale point system. And everybody starts off at the base 27%, unless you come in with experience, then you obviously start off at a higher percentage, whatever that is. But and depending on what division you're in, whether you're in specialized or boat division or Conestoga, there are probably different percentages with that. And then there's also different, there's line haul, but then there's also dedicated. There's there's different aspects of driving. It's not just all line haul and OTR. Some people are home every day. Some people are driving day cabs. So basically, how you make money with the company as a line haul driver, which is what I took it to be, because it's going to be different for other divisions, and how to do different things, how to calculate certain things for yourself that are going to make you more efficient driver, which is thus going to make you more efficient employee for them. Now, as far as what I think about TQM, do I think it's a good thing? Do I think it's not? As far as, what I rated on a 1 to 10 and all that, my personal opinion about it is not so much what I'm trying to give you. What I'm trying to give you is what it is. I have other, buddies or whatever that drive for this company, and, they took TQM to be what they wanted to take it. Or some people, pay a little attention to it, and then they figure out different little things that work for them. Like I said, me, my first year of truck driving, from my understanding of any career that you want to get into, your first year is all learning experience. Money is not really a determining factor. In some of the groups I'm on Facebook, and the different CDL groups that I'm on about 2 or 3 of them, and a lot of what you see, especially on the new CDL drivers, a lot of what you hear and a lot of what people make reference to is pay. And one thing I will say about TQM that made sense to me, as a company driver, you're basically chasing your tail if you're chasing pay, because your pay is not really, how much a load is paying, you have no control over if you're going to do that or not. You're dispatched out on loads. You have a fleet manager. So this isn't the same as an owner operator or lease operator, where you get to pick and choose through, well, I want this load, it's going here, or it's no tarp on it, or it's paying this or this many miles. I can calculate out if it adds up what it's paying per mile, what the rate of that freight is, etc. As a company driver, you really don't have that luxury. So basically, to me, that's not something that I think it would be good to focus on as a company driver, that you focus on money. And I noticed, like, my first couple weeks when I was just focused on just doing the job, because it was such like a awe moment of me being in my own truck and being out here, and how fast everything's moving, and how, you're so focused on that, you're not worried about, oh, what's this load paying. And I noticed that it takes a lot of stress off you, because if you go and look and see, oh, this load is only paying $600, and then, to the truck, so I'm only making whatever, $200 or whatever, less than that, then you're going to be less motivated, to do things fast. You're going to be less motivated. In general, your motivation level is going to be down. And then you could turn around, tomorrow, drop that load off and get the same exact load, and it's paying twice as much, half the distance, half as easy to secure. So that's the way trucking is. It's what the freight is, what the rates are, what the lanes that you're running. That is what determines your pay. Not if you do this, you're going to get 3 points. If you do that, you're going to get 4 points. If you do that, in the long-term scheme of things, that has no relevance to anything. What is relevant is that you understand the industry that you're in, and you act accordingly. You basically keep yourself in the middle of that, and not say, oh, because this is only doing this, I'm only going to do this. Because as a company driver, again, you're dispatched out. You don't have creative control over what you're doing like an owner-operator. So it is not the same. It's not the same as far as how you make money as an owner-operator and how you make money as a company driver. It's two totally different worlds. It's two totally different scenarios. One of them is picking and choosing and doing and being a part of the math, and one of them is just doing whatever they can do to put themselves in the most successful situation that they can be in, to make, to end up with the best outcome. So with TQM, again, it's a good course. It's a good class. Anything that's information, that's knowledge based, that's factually based, is going to be beneficial, because if you know how to utilize that and incorporate it into what you're doing on a daily basis, well, then it's going to benefit you. But is it going to make the world of difference, like being out here for 5 years? No. Being out here, the more you're out here, the more freight that you get, the more coils that you secure, the more varieties of freight that you get, the more repetitions that you get, the more chains that you throw, the more ratchets that you secure. The more you keep doing it, that's what's going to come into play. More so, the more roads that you navigate, the more degrees of difficulty of the backing that you have to do. The more docks that you go in, the more bays that you go in, the more of the country that you get to see, and the more people and drivers that you get to meet. All that goes into experience. And experience is what's going to separate those guys that's out here really actually making money and are doing the same thing that you're doing every day, but they're doing it on a different level because they have more control over what they're doing, on top of all of those things that, they've weathered the storm through all of those variables that I talked about, and they're basically now they're able to, see the fruits of what they put in. So again, as a rookie driver, you're not focusing on money so much. So I'm focusing on learning the road systems. If I get a dispatch, the difference between me and somebody that's been out here driving for 25 years, or flatbedding specifically, is they're going to know that customer, they're going to know that freight, and they're going to know how to get there all going to be in their head up here. They're not going to have to look at anything and say, oh, well, which way should I go? Or which, no, I know this way. I know that way. You know, I know that detour. You know, I know that U.S. route. I know that highway route. I know where there's rest areas at all along the way. I know where there's truck stops at. I know where I'm going to take my shower at. I done did this 20 times. Those are the guys that come into these places. They already know how many coil racks to set up, how many mats to set out, you know, how much dunnage to put out. You know, they already have it in their head, so they're just doing it. They're doing it, as opposed to, okay, I have to think, or I have to call my trainer, or I have to look at the guidance. I have to call safety and ask them what I'm supposed to do, or I have to ask one of these drivers out here what I'm supposed to do. I have to ask the guy that's checking me in where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do. All that is the difference between, you know, experience and being a rookie. And there's going to be that learning curve. It's going to be a time period. You know, I know a whole lot more than I knew the first day I came out here, but at the same time, there's so much more to learn. And so that's going to come from being out here. But it's a good accomplishment to complete TQM. They have an advanced TQM. It just goes into more of what goes into why you get the loads that you get. Because somebody might be like, well, I got empty at such and such time and I still didn't get. But once again, if a person doesn't understand the industry they're in, everybody hasn't been to college. Everybody, you know, doesn't understand, you know, economics and things that will enhance or strengthen you having an understanding of the economy. Right now is a good lesson for everybody, because they're understanding supply chain. By there not being anything in grocery stores, they're understanding that, hold on a second, if that trucker doesn't bring that here, we're not getting that. What's stopping that supply chain? Well, the lack of factories being open, the lack of people working in factories, you know, the lack of companies wanting cutting employees, so that slows down the supply chain from where something's getting manufactured at. You know, the whole world being on gridlock, you know, these containers not getting over here, these ships not selling over here, that factory in China not pumping that out. Now people are starting to get hit to the supply chain. Money is like, and trucking is like, you know, if you're a company driver, it's like you're thinking about money. I mean, you have very little input into what loads you're going to get dispatched on. I would say that you know, 3 or 4 company drivers, you line them up and they've all been company driver for 5 years. They're all doing the right stuff. They're all shifting right. They're all taking their breaks properly. They're all, you know, parking up at the customer. They're all going to do all these things the same. So the only difference now is going to come into play is where they live at. What is the freight that's coming out of their area? Do they want to stay out or not? Because that's another thing that I'll get into. Actually, I'll get into it right now. So with TQM, one thing I noticed, or not just with TQM, but with this company, and since I've been trucking, which is important to share, is that staying out. Well, I stayed out for a month, just to see, you know, and I believe I made a video around that time, and I stayed out to see, you know, does it really make that much of a difference? Even though I didn't really know enough to make that staying out, you know, that strong of a move to where I'm like, I'm going to maximize my staying out like somebody that really knows what they're doing. But I just did it more so to see, what does it entail? You know, can I do it? Do I want to do it? Is it something that is going to make an extra few $100s, not just $50 or $60 to my paycheck for staying out, you know, for basically relinquishing my life at home, with my wife, with my family, you know, relinquishing anything that if I just want to lay around the house and do nothing, versus, you know, laying around in a truck and doing a 34. So the staying out thing, as a company driver, as a CPM driver, like with van and reefer and, you know, trucking jobs that basically are built around miles and how much you're driving and how far you're going, staying out makes a difference. But if you're doing it regularly, constantly, like you have to be staying out for months at a time or for weeks at a time. I don't believe that staying out every other week is going to make any more than $50 to $70 more that time that you stayed out a paycheck. It may get you a load that is going farther because now you don't have to come home, but you're still going to do your 34. You're still not going to deliver till Monday when you pick up on Friday. So staying out, which is, for those that may not understand what I'm saying staying out as in not going home on the Friday/Saturday that is advertised that, this company, is one of the companies that you go home every weekend. But if you stay out, you'll be more in position, and you'll be more, able to make more money. Like, I had a load that was going past my house, and it was like a special type of load that was coming out of somewhere that I didn't have to do because it was delivering on Saturday. And so it was like I wasn't staying out, type thing, but I wasn't staying out, but it benefited me as if I was staying out, because it was an extra day that a load delivered on Saturday, which is very, unusual in trucking, period, that loads deliver on Saturdays. So that netted me a lot more money, just that one situation. And on the back end, it got me to leave out later. So there's some occurrences where staying out is better, is going to get you. But from what my take on it is, and I've stayed out enough to be able to, say this in a short amount of time I've been here, because most of my classmates, none of them, they just started staying out, and not saying that they couldn't, they just didn't want to, or they didn't see the benefits. So now they're going to try to stay out because they feel like, okay, well, maybe I can make more money staying out. Maybe they weren't satisfied with the money they were getting. Now they're trying to stay out. So staying out for 2 weeks at a time or whatever, I don't know if that's really that much more beneficial. Staying out for months at a time is going to be more beneficial, because now you're getting moved to a category, which they told us in TQM is a runner, and is somebody that stays out, and they know this guy's not going home anytime soon, so I can have him way over here, way out of his area for a long duration of time, because I don't have to worry about routing him back. He's going to pick and choose where he wants his home destinations at. And if he does that, or he can just chase money, because somebody that's staying out, now they can chase freight. They can say, I'm staying out for a month. I don't care where my home address is set at. I just need to get where the freight that's paying the best is at. That person is not bound to anything as a person that's going home that Friday after they leave out Monday, and their fleet manager has to already start getting them back home on Wednesday. So that's just an observation I made. Some other observations I made, and this is more on the lighter side, because I know these videos can be real serious. Guys, take stuff to a whole serious level. I mean, yes, it's a serious job. But sometimes you got to come with something a little lighter. So on the lighter note, things that I observed since I've been out here trucking are just my observations, my opinions, which I rarely, I like to come factually or telling it how it is. And, it could be fact checked. Yes, this is what happens with this company, or this is what happens. This is the only thing I can speak on where I'm at now, or this happens in this situation because, yes, this is what happens, because it can be fact checked. But as far as like on a lighter note, Walmart. Okay, and this is for like new drivers who are thinking about getting their CDL, haven't got your CDL yet, thinking about coming to this company. I'm going to make some blanket statements that I feel like I've observed enough of. Walmart. Haven't seen a Walmart driver under 50 years old yet. I remember when I first got my CDL, and I had buddies, and they were saying, oh, you can drive for Walmart and get, make $100,000, like the commercial advertises $86,000 a year in your first year, this, that, and the third. Of course, you have to have 2 years experience at least, but I have not personally seen a non-gray haired Walmart driver yet. Haven't seen one under 50 yet pushing the Walmart van. Haven't seen it. Never. Since the whole time that I've been driving. So that's one thing that I haven't seen. I haven't seen a Walmart driver that's young. Number two is, out of all the flatbed jobs, or out of all the jobs that there are, in my opinion, dealing with like open freight, which would be like flatbed and, Conestoga. I mean, it's not open, but it's, it's basically flatbed. Conestoga, Side Kit, Specialized. What looks like it's the most, all around the board, the easiest / the least amount of work for the most amount of money, I'm going to have to say probably is Side Kit. It just seems like that to me. And then the heavy haul Side Kit with the tri-axles in the back, it got the 3 axles. I met a driver that had that, and they could haul up to like 110, maybe 120, or they can be their gross weight can be up to 110, 120. I don't know what that would be they can haul. But I don't know the front axle, the middle axle, but I know that they can haul heavy. The Side Kit, because you don't have to tarp, and you basically have all your stuff in there set up. If it's coils, if it's, something like, which mainly that's what that is going to be. It's not going to be lumber. Flatbed to me is like, you could really revolve it around lumber, drywall. Just regular flatbed is going to be lumber, drywall, pipe, whether it's Griffin, whether it's the plastic PVC, sheet metal, obviously coils, but I don't limit that because Conestoga is killing flatbed with coils. Conestoga and Side Kit, they're murdering flatbed with a coil because they don't have to tarp, and they already have their stuff set up, and they do it all day, every day. And their stuff is already set there. I've seen people that look like, drivers, their whole coil area is already set up, for it already done. Everything must be nailed down to the deck because it's just there already. As soon as they open that side kick up, it's there. You can't do that with flatbed, for obvious reason. So Conestoga and Side Kit, they're killing it as far as like when it comes to coils and things like that. There's no flatbed that could surpass that because it's just not possible. Because you just don't have the setup that they already have ready made that's going to get them in and out of there. Plus, they're doing that at a high level all the time. So that's what I see with that. But the tri-axle, the heavier haul, the doubles, Conestoga, and the triples, or the doubles, I've seen that. I don't like that. I don't foresee myself doing that. That's just too much. Doubles dry van either. Too much. I mean, you're just driving in a straight line. You're not going anywhere. You're just, from interstate to interstate, UPS or whatever, FedEx, doubles, you're just going from here to there. That's another observation. UPS, FedEx, doubles. You're not going to see nothing but highway and interstate if you're pulling doubles, triples, by the way. Be prepared. You're not going to see a lot of truck stops. And you're not going to see anything but a straight line. You're not going to see a bunch of curves, which is good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying if you'll get bored doing that, probably just seeing a straight line, for 700 miles, because you're not turning off anywhere. You're not, going on any residential areas or any industrial areas. You're going from here, this off the interstate, right there yard, to right here, as far as what I've seen. CR England. I got a buddy at CR England. I mean, I don't like to have to down companies but as a trucker with a family and somebody that almost went there, and knowing somebody that's there now, If that's your last resort for trucking, do not even think about it. Do something else. There are other things in life that can be done. There are other companies that are similar to them that will take anybody, no matter what your situation. But as far as their training, my buddy has been in 2 accidents with his co-drivers in the past month, and forewarned safety about these drivers. As soon as they got in and turned, he told him, he can't drive. I don't feel comfortable going to sleep. They'll put you in the truck with anybody, and it's not worth the type of money, the 23 cents, whatever per mile that they're paying. That's another observation. Team driving for 23 cents a mile, for 30 cents a mile, for 40 cents a mile, I don't agree with that. Driving for 30, 20, and 30 cents a mile, I don't really agree with that either. I don't believe that you should be in trucking making just that. For what's going into it, I mean, yes, we said that rookie driving is not about chasing money and all that, but there are certain minimums that I just won't tolerate, because there's other things I have certifications in that I can do. And I can be fact checked that I was doing before this, and I can go back to doing something else. So there's only a certain level of, okay, if this is the ceiling for this and it's not satisfactory to me, well, then I'm going to move on. But I'm not team driving for 20 something, 30 cents. I'm not driving all the miles that they want you to drive for that amount of money. That's the only way that you get money, is drive 4,500 miles a week for 23 cents to see, $800 or whatever. That's not happening. That's too much time, waste of time is what that is. There are other things that can be done in life to get to the same result that are more beneficial. Skill-wise, flatbed is specialized skill, but it's not specialized, meaning that it's not like hauling heavy equipment, and you're not, specialized, meaning, there are special things that you can put on a flatbed that, the flatbed will be bigger. It'll be, like oversized. If it's wider than the road is, it's wider than 11 feet. It's hanging off the back of the trailer, a 53-foot trailer, 7 more feet, those turbine winds, those wing turbines, those things that they have that you see, going, and it has like 100 wheels on it. Those type of things is what, that's specialized. But what you can do with flatbed that I see that would probably be something that I would try to do is John Deere, which is basically agricultural equipment. And you can put vehicles on a flatbed. Generators. There's a couple of different things that you can put on a flatbed, other than the basic lumber, drywall, the basics. But specialized is about, that's a good trajectory if you're getting in a flatbed and you're saying what next. And that's something with TMC that, really they're looking for that. Really, they're looking at you, in my opinion, and they're saying, okay, can this guy move over to Conestoga, the boats, the accounts that's making more money? They want to sift those quality drivers out of there that are not going to be trainers, because the quality drivers that are trainers, because all trainers aren't quality, but the ones that are, and then the ones that don't end up being like office and other aspects, to work at the training facility or teaching at the driving academy and stuff. And then you have load securement guys that are really good at that. And then you have quality drivers that can, okay, this guy right here, he's been with us. Let's see if he wants to do specialized. We got an opening for RGN over here, agriculture, John Deere. Well, that's where you're going to make the money at. Hauling, big concrete, barriers that are like, not 20 feet high, but like, 15 feet high, and they're on a step deck. That type of thing. That's where the ceiling